Yeah, Manu, wewe na Manu mko na kitu moja in common that I keep asking you guys. What's your hair care routine? Wengine wetu hapa bana still will tu tukisonga.
Vibes and inshallah.
Awongo.
No, but see the basics too. Kuosha na shampoo and then conditioning, whichever leave-in or kuosha, and then now I do what I call it with curling cream. That's it.
Okay, so you studied as a media student, and then you became a photographer, and then now you are a is it VFX artist?
No, you consider it as VFX.
It's kind of is. Someone animation.
Animation, yes.
Okay.
Though I'm still like, where do we start? Media student, did broadcast journalism, so it's more of the whole presenting bit. Not really photography, but neo presenting radio shows, reading the news, the reporting. That's what I did. That is my training actually.
Oh, nice. Alafu podcast kumeenda aje bana?
Ati?
Una podcast, kwa nini una podcast na ni media student?
Acha ushenzi.
I mean, nauliza tu, I'm asking for the fans. The fans are asking, podcast iko wapi wewe bana?
Which fans?
The fans are talking in the streets. But if you guys don't know, we also have a podcast. It's called Banter with the Boys, aka BWTB254. You cannot find it on any listening right now because we had to do some things and pay some bills. But inarudi, so don't worry. Watch out for that episode. But let's speak about now your time as a photographer. What made you pick up photography after you came from? Because you just unatokaje kwa mic alafu nenda kwa camera. Like what happened?
What happened? It was a bit strange. Because I never in my life would have thought that I would be a photographer or even a creative of sorts.
Nice,
But then so after the end of your internship, and then I realized I cannot talk for all that while. That is not what I'm supposed to be doing in my life. Yeah. And then that aside, it's very hard. I don't know about now, but back then it was very hard to kupata your internship. Like I was lucky to go to a college where they used walikuwa natutafutia internships. So you get posted at this so excuse me. So I was lucky that siku struggle sana kupata internship.
Oh, which school is this?
East African Media Institute.
Nice, man. I think that's where we need to go. Plug that school. That is how it should be done. Mimi nilienda kutafuta attachment bana, tuko na stress na babangu kwa nyumba is like hata course ni must kweli my son. I think.
So nikapata internship, but then after nilimaliza shule and whatnot, that is when now reality kicked in. Like you cannot, it's very hard for you to get a job. Yeah. Not just any job, especially in media. Yeah. Like it's very complicated. Like getting the internship. Let me, instead of getting a job, let me just start
from an internship.
It's super difficult. Yeah. So like, you know what? Nilifanya photography for a bit as part of the course. It wasn't the main thing, but it was part of it. So went home, talked to my folks. Yeah, by the way, sijapata job like being a presenter or whatnot, but I think I can do this other thing. Interestingly, actually started shooting videos, music videos.
I have seen some of your work, but although say look after.
Yeah.
Wale watu wetu music in me. Shout out to those guys though. They have disappeared for a while though. After releasing some interesting videos.
But the album was really good.
I never listened to the album. I think I'll need to take time and listen to it.
Kwanza kuna song hapo inaitwa Lucy.
Me ile song ilikuwa na pressure ilikuwa na Nasi. Every time they perform that song was fire. Those guys are onto something.
They really were.
I just wish they had right management and everything. Like cause I feel like they had the talent, they had the potential. Shida tu ilikuwa
I think they're still around though.
They're still around, but they're not as active. Because see, number I call WhatsApp na nini, but see on status. I remember, was it Robbie? Was his name Rob or something? The leader, the main guy.
It was Tony,
yeah. I had his number and everything. He used to post their stuff regularly and stuff.
No, but there's a time they went a bit because they were rebranding to Harambe something.
Harambe Media and everything.
Yeah, so I think that's why they've not
lakini video ya kwanza Sarambe Media though shit. Nakumbuka nikikupigia nikikuuliza is this your work, and I was like yani umeamua.
No.
But now you're talking about your journey. You started as a music video
Yeah, so I shot a couple of videos. Huh?
Is it music video shooter? No, music videographer. Yes, music videographer. That's the one.
And director.
Director. But Suluko behind the camera.
I was doing both because I would. Okay, so we were So,
give us the lowdown.
So kulikuwa we actually had a company, Chrysalis Media. So it was me and we were like 4 guys, like 3 guys, and there were 2 ladies. So the ladies would do the logistics, and then we would. There's a guy who his main job was sound. Like he's a great producer. So
Umesema 3 guys and how many ladies?
2.
Yani a third gender role mlikuwa like lazima
unknowingly.
Nyinyi ni wale watu yani kwa serikali.
It's interesting that I don't know, like Nikitamu, I do not remember that we had such a thing. It was many years ago. And then there was one guy, he was a Brian. I think you know Brian. Brian Buffer was.
Oh yeah, Brian.
Yeah, so he was part of.
Wewe unahitaji mikwaju bana. Jamaa anahitaji. He's an amazing designer, lakini getting a hold of him. Getting a hold of him is just
So we had that company. So we used to shoot music videos as Chrysalis. But then now, after a while, people grew.
Yeah.
So
and
then for me, it was the same concept of music back then. Like the artists I was working with, because template ya kushoot video ilikuwa tu same. Like this is boring.
Na madancers hapo nyuma kidogo.
Kuna madancers, kuna sijui. It was.
I will die on this hill. Kenyan videographers and Kenyan artists, stop putting dancers unnecessarily in your videos.
Yeah, I agree. Not every music needs to have dancers.
And then some of this choreography is just bullshit, bana. Unaona, these guys they're just it's bullshit. Najua kuna ile this choreography that adds sense, but this choreography unaona tu hutu ni jamaa alitaja kuja part time. Like, and then you're like there's more happening. You see, unajua Jose? Jose is saying that he's tried every time he meets people who want to do a music videos, like let's do a story. Wanataka the same thing. Bash dancers. And
you see, I got bored with that that time. Like, okay, now video is not that interesting for me. So let me try now the photography bit. Then so that's where I started going into photography, and here I am.
Yeah, you are. Okay. So you can get photography. You started as a photographer. I remember I saw your first concept. You're really a conceptual artist as a photographer. You did the Halloween shoot.
Halloween shoot ilifanya nikaitwa devil worship hapa.
Me, the first time I saw them, I was like, oh jamaa hapa iko kitu hapa. Like I'm pretty sure the comment section is probably
it was lit.
And then you also did the underwear shoot.
With the designer. That was also an interesting one.
My brother, you have done things. Hii ni portfolio utafaa kuweka mahali wajukuu wakiona. But so right now you're into animation and whatnot, yeah?
Yes, I'm trying to get now into motion graphics. Animation I did. There's a clip I did. It's a 3-second clip.
Yeah.
And after, because I think it took 3 days working on it. Once I was done, I'm like, you know what? To any animator out there, I respect you. That thing is hard. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And then you see, I think we tukiona some of these works out there, we just enjoy and like, oh, it's good work, but we do not know what really happens behind the scenes. Because for me, in as much as it was like work I'm doing, it was my own personal project. I did not storyboard or anything. I just took a clip and then animated it. So I'm imagining if I'm to create a whole animation project, that means I have to storyboard and shoot and whatnot. But looking forward to it.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
I remember there's this story. I don't know if it speaks or who. There's an animation that took around 3 years to render. And then, like, on the second year, it got crash. So it had to... No, but they were lucky. that was it the hardware?
Toy Story.
It's Toy Story.
Yeah, I think it's the first Toy Story they crashed, and then there was one of the motion graphic artists mwenye alikuwa na some of those clips at her place. So they had now they took those to finish the project. It's Toy Story.
Can you imagine, like, just because that's the thing, because my laptop is not as strong as I used to think it was. I tried doing like a 1 hour of our podcast, like, and it's just After Effects. Basically, it's a waveform. Hakuna kitu ingine anymore. There's no hakuna shenanigans. It's a waveform and a video of the logo just spinning. It took me 10 hours to render that thing.
Yeah, because After Effects is very RAM intensive. I've tried, and it's and then it takes a lot of space. Because there was some coffee thing I worked on a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
It took it's also 6 seconds. But then it rendered quite fast. But then nikiangalia space, the thing took I think 50 GB of.
Yeah, man. Nice. Have you tried using DaVinci Resolve?
I have, but I'm still learning DaVinci.
I find DaVinci more friendly. Okay, for me, I find it more user friendly because everything is there, and then like akuna After Effects. Adobe has this thing since they went fully online. They have this thing where you have to use their suite for you to fully experience it. Unatoka Photoshop and After Effects, and Premiere Pro, like you have to do that thing. But the good thing with DaVinci is everything is there. And then it uses the GPU, not the RAM and whatever. So the rendering time on DaVinci was really good, but I tried installing the new one.
Shenanigans.
Anyway, so before we go through your creative process and your creative mindset, you have requested us to play a song by Petrus called Wangu. Petrus. Yeah, it's called Wangu.
Should listen to that album. Like, I do not even remember nilipatana na yeye, but then
oh, you know him personally?
No. On Spotify. Then it's like, wait a minute, this sounds really good. I listened to the album and I was like, he knows what he's doing.
Okay, so let us experience Bwana Mwaluma's recommendation here. Anaitwa Petrus called Wangu. We will be back with more stories, tips, tricks. This is Filosofee Quack. Fuck you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Kiafrika amelelewa ndani ya kanisa, ona konazo tabia. Mtoto nampa sifa, akifunga leso tamba lake la uwaoneni mwendo na anavyorembu, akijipodoa walai na mvua. Nimenunua redio na makaseti, tucheze mziki tukisoma magazeti. Mapenzi bila starehe huwa hatutosheki. Nimenunua rinda la kukupeleka dance. Break those legs, you will never know. This might be our last dance together. Maybe kuna mwenye atakaye kupenda zaidi yangu. Kwa sasa wendo wangu peke yangu. Kwa sasa wendo wangu. Wendo wangu peke yangu. Tunapendana hadi tunafanana, tunafaana. We've made memories, hata kienda mbali ajue ni yeye I need. Amenipa vitu addictive, now she's all I need, all I need. Nimenunua redio na makaseti, tucheze mziki tukisoma magazeti. Mapenzi bila starehe huwa hatutosheki. Nimenunua rinda la kukupeleka dance. Break those legs, you will never know. This might be our last dance together. Maybe kuna mwenye atakaye kupenda zaidi yangu. Kwa sasa wendo wangu peke yangu. Kwa sasa wendo wangu. Wendo wangu peke yangu. Na makaseti tucheze mziki tukisoma magazeti. Mapenzi bila starehe huwa hatutosheki. Nimenunua rinda la kukupeleka dance. Break those legs, you will never know. This might be our last dance together. Maybe kuna mwenye atakaye kupenda zaidi yangu.
Okay. Inakaa this week kenyewe nimewaletea guest someone wanawapatia tu some fire recommendations. That was Petrus wangu courtesy of Mwaluma hapa, mwenyewe alikuwa amerequest na tumecheza hapa. If you have any recommendations or requests that you'd like me to play, rusheni pale and I will do the thing. Find me on WhatsApp or wherever, or go to YouTube and see the live stream and then you just write a comment section and I'll see and I'll try to play the song that you're asking for. This is Filosofee Quack, fuck you. My name is Shihembetsa and we're back to Mwaluma. I know the name. It's a work in progress. We're working on it. But it's kind of cool. The name is kind of cool. You have to admit. Hey, mwenye umevaa t-shirt nasema snailed it hapa. Na kono hapa. So, take me through your creative process. How do you decide what to put there? Because I've noticed you're very diverse in your creative process. I cannot really pinpoint how you go about it. What goes through your mind when you decide to create something? Ama ungoja vibe. Ama etu nule tunamkanga tunasema let me create.
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Wewe nikakumbuka leo like as I was coming, I was talking to excuse me, my sister, and she's like, if you put all the wild things you have in your mind, like you put them out as art, right? They should be hung out in the Louvre. I was like,
that is that we should print that and put it on a frame, and that's fire. That's fire. Shout out to Mwaluma system. Huyu amefanya ile kitu.
But that's creative process. It depends. It depends with what I'm feeling, what I've read, what I've listened to. It's what I've seen. Because I remember that there's an artwork I created a couple of months ago. I'd read a Kenyan book, a Kenyan writer. He's called Eric Rugara. He has this. It's a new book. It was A Surreal Journey of Discovery. So it's a collection of short stories. It's short stories. If you can find that book, it's brilliant. So I read a couple of stories up on Dani. Then I think I read 2 or 3. Then once I was like, wait, I have this idea from the book. Let me create. So I created it and then I posted it on my Facebook. And then I say, okay, this I created this because the book was the inspiration. Now what I found interesting was the author reached out. It was like, we had, as they were designing the book, the cover of the book, they had that same idea with the artwork that I created. And so like it was fascinating to both of us that how, regardless of, because I did not know him, he didn't know me at the time. And I just read the book and I came up with this idea, which to a point correlated to what they had in mind with his designer for the artwork. So I created some bookmarks and he took some, which is a good thing. So creatively I just create whatever I think I would work. I would.
That's a Kenyan artist.
Yeah,
A Kenyan writer.
It's a Kenyan writer. Yes.
Oh yeah, sure. I should plug him, but I mean, kwa fikiria you're talking about some
No,
random guy in the.
no.
Kumbe ni Mkenya wetu hapa anafanya mambo namna this.
it's
Okay, that is a big
Do you
deal.
know that guy? Wow, he has actually written. He did an article that was used by some university students for their thesis.
Shit.
Yeah.
But the Kenyan writers are really good, man. It's only that I feel like Kenyan writers are underrated. Kenyans don't really appreciate the writers. But I think writers are like artists where you're more appreciated when you're dead, because people are right now are reading Charles Bukowski and stuff.
Yeah, but there are a lot of good, like very good Kenyan writers. If you actually a bibliophile, just go find Kenyan writers. There are a lot.
Yeah, I think I'll have to
like you.
I'll have to start looking into that, because I have a very specific style of writing that I like. This the way I like my writers kind of descriptive, but in a
you would definitely enjoy that book.
Yeah,
because there are two stories there in 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Kuna Mona, there's Waitherero, and then there's another one. So
situfanye tu hivi, after this tunaenda kuchukua kitabu kwani.
yeah, it's a beautiful book.
Yeah.
For anyone who loves reading, I would recommend.
Since umesema like your minds kind of went parallel in the thought process of creating the album, have you ever heard of this thing called collective consciousness? So basically what happened is this. In 1970 something, 75, 78, some researchers took some monkeys on a remote island, okay? And what they did is they will pass a helicopter at the top, and then they'll drop the bananas. They'll drop bananas at the beach. But now the bananas will get sand, so the monkeys will not be able to eat the bananas, okay? So the scientists taught one monkey how to clean the bananas and eat the banana. So that monkey, it was like 100 monkeys. So that monkey taught the other monkeys. At some point, it was 5 monkeys. Okay, let's make your kamchanga, we clean it. So after a while, the whole island, all the monkeys will get bananas and fruits, and they will clean them, wash them, and eat them, right? Now,
Interesting.
Now there was another island just next to that island with monkeys now, with another group of monkeys. Now this was the control experiment. These monkeys had never met these other monkeys. These monkeys had never even been taught how to wash a banana and clean it and eat it. But this is the funny thing. Once the scientists dropped bananas on this island, guess what happened? The monkeys immediately took the bananas, went and washed them, and ate them.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where people are trying to explain that there's a possibility that, because when I used to grow up, I was like, how do we know some things? Because as humans, you need someone to teach you. But even then, word doesn't spread as fast because hakukuwa na internet. So apparently, I think we're all connected in a weird sense. As artists specifically, like you learn something through dreams and stuff. It's a wormhole of information. It's kind of trippy when you think about it. Yeah.
So because I recently read one of that author's posts, and he's like, he also mentioned me that after reading the book, I created the artwork. So apparently, there's also some guy, a rapper, who he also read the book and he made music. Yes. So really, like it's a fascinating space to be in, where you can get inspiration from all these places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that separates good artists from great artists, or just artists from, like, as much as art is subjective. I feel like because we were having this conversation with Maina Munene, and we were talking about how sometimes you go into an art exhibition, you look at all the paintings, you're like, meh, but they are technically good. But then you find someone has drawn a line, and the next thing you know, you're inspired to draw wild stuff. So I feel like every artist should like bleed for the craft, like give it some soul. And it is going to sound harsh, but that's one thing I feel like it's either you have it or you don't. You can't really cultivate it.
No, but then what do you consider soul? Because again, the people, I remember I attended some workshop, some artists workshop. They were talking about copyright and whatnot. So this person saw some of my artwork. Then she told me, do not conform. Stick to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because your art is not for everyone.
Yeah.
So that in itself means not everyone is going to like. Because I could put my soul into it, but if you do not like it, you'll feel like, no, this is just some junk.
I don't even think it's necessarily putting your soul into it. It's like there's a way you can do something. It's like being cooked with love. You know,
I get.
so, you know,
I
when you
get.
eat your mom's food, and then your mom can cook for you rocks. You eat them and you're like, yeah, that's the best meal I've ever had. And then you go somewhere else to a 5-star restaurant, you find this person has tilapia, mekama, all the kinds of spices you eat, and you're like,
Yeah,
something
it's
is
not.
missing.
Okay,
Something is
I
missing.
get
Yeah.
that point.
So,
Get it.
but I also feel like, do you think the money usually ruins the pursuit of money usually ruins the experience with the artist?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Ideally, I read a quote. Someone said, if you did not need to worry about money paying bills,
Yeah.
everyone would be an artist.
But I don't think so, though.
This is the thing. I actually think so that if most of us did not have to actually go to work, we would be creating stuff. We'd just be creating. We'd be making music. Someone else would be playing the guitar. The other one would be maybe dancing. The other one would be doing. They would be painting. But because we have to actually work and pay bills, like, okay, I'll maybe do the music as a hobby. I'll maybe draw as a hobby, as I do now the things which will actually pay the bills. Yeah, so of course the pursuit of money ruins the whole creative
Process.
yeah.
For real. But I also feel like you need money to actually do art, because it's expensive.
See, that's why I say if you do not need to worry about money.
But then again, on the other hand, when you think about it, I feel like art is one of those things that it's hard to understand, and people usually I hate the fact that Kenyans, they call it kuchora tu. Unajua kuna hiyo feeling yani kuchora tu ama unaandika tu muziki tu. Yeah, like they don't take it as seriously as possible. So how do you explain it to you? Because I know you're close to your father and you're close to your mother. Rest in peace to her. How did you explain this to them? Because watu wengi in my case tulisumbuana bana. My dad was all in. He was like, you wanna make music, sir? Let's do this. My mama was like, you'll do music after you're done with campus. You'll do music after you're done with campus.
Okay, my folks are pretty supportive because they bought me my first camera actually. So
Shout out to the Malumas, man.
yeah. So but then also for a while my dad could not like, mbona unapiga picha and why are you?
Yeah.
So I actually shot. There's some videos I shot and then I showed him. This is what I actually do. Like so like saa zingine when tumepatana I'll be like, patieni mwalimu yeye ndo.
Yeah, the guy.
Yeah,
Your dad is your plug.
Photographer. I'll pick a picture. And,
That's nice.
yeah, so for them, they've been. I would say my family has been pretty supportive. Like, yeah, there are times. I remember when I was into double exposures, and they used to take me a long time to do, like a very long time. So there's this one weekend my mom was around, and then I was tired. So even when she called, sikuwa nimesikia. And then when I returned, I was like, ma nimelala very late, so ndo nimeamka. Then what touched me was, were you up doing one of those of your artworks?
Like she respected the craft. You're like, yeah.
That was what I was doing. It was a wholesome moment. Okay, I do not think she knew what it did to me, but yeah, they've been like very, very supportive.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. Shout out to them, because I remember, and that means a lot. I feel like people underrate the joy of just someone showing appreciation and showing that they actually they actually rank your work. Because I remember the first time I did something, I was working on A Life Well Lived, the weird project I never finished. I sent it to my dad. He listened to it and he was like, it's nice, but you should increase the nini, the speed of the nini. And I communicated, and for some reason that was, everyone has given me feedback on the project, but I feel like that was the best feedback I've ever gotten from anybody. It's like when your parents see you, there's something sijui ni nini, unajua.
And then I wouldn't say it's just parents, because or like family. I remember there's this thing that you just create, but you really do not know how it's perceived out there.
Yeah.
No. So there's this competition I'd entered, and then I'd posted it on, I think, my status, my WhatsApp status.
Yeah.
And so everyone else shared it. So this is from a friend of a friend. What, right?
Any master bana. Kubali tu.
So that friend of mine alinitumia, and I was like, wow, I did not know that actually people see what I do. No, because I